In this presentation, what we're going to cover is how to choose a health insurance agency. This is presented by Agent Navigator, your premier insurance training and resource guide. So if you're just coming into the business and looking to sell individual health, or you're already in the business and you're looking to pick up individual health as another line, you're looking for a health insurance agency, here are some questions you're going to want to ask any potential agency. First of all, you need to understand a little bit about the hierarchy. At the top of the chain, you have the MGA, Master General Agent. Below that, you have the General Agent, or the GA. And below that, you have the Writing Agent. Chances are, if you're watching this presentation, you're going to be coming in at a Writing Agent level, unless you have a lot of production on the books, then you could potentially come in at a GA level. But you want to make sure that you're coming in under an MGA. So it's an easy question to ask. Simply, are you an MGA? Because you want to make sure that you're going to have room to grow as your production grows. Commissions. You want to know what the first year commissions are for each of the carriers they represent, and you're going to want to know what the renewal commissions are for each of the carriers that they represent. Okay, advances. Your commission check. Where is your commission check going to be coming from? Is it going to be coming from the carriers directly, or maybe only one or two carriers that allow direct commissions if you choose in advance? Or are your commissions going to be assigned, which means the carrier writes the check to the agency and the agency writes the check to you? That's assigned commissions. Chargebacks. How are the chargebacks going to be handled? If you incur a chargeback, is that going to come out of your next check? Or is it going to go into a debt account? And if it goes into a debt account, is there interest charged to you, of course? And if so, what is that interest level? And the amount advanced. If a carrier advances, they may not advance an entire 12-month period of time, or the agency may not choose to advance a 12-month period of time. So you want to know what the number of months advanced are for each carrier that advances. And you also want to know what the commission is going to be and whether or not you're taking a commission cut to take in advance. They may say, for example, that if you go as earned, the commission is, for example, 12%. But if you choose to take it advance, the commission drops to 10%. So you're going to want to find that out. Training and support. For training, do they have a published training calendar? If you're dealing with any kind of a large agency, they should have what we call scheduled training. So they should have a calendar of events that you should be able to take a look at to see what kind of training they conduct. They should be conducting training along the lines of sales, underwriting, and product training. For support, what kind of support do they offer? They should be offering pre-screen support. So if you have a potential case, you should be able to contact them for all underwriting pre-screens. And they should also be able to help you out with pending cases that you already have in underwriting. Ownership of the book of business. You have something called immediate vesting. If you're immediately vested, that means you own your book of business from day one. You keep all clients and you keep all renewals. Then you have contracts that have vesting clauses. Vesting clauses can be from 1 year to 2 to 3, all the way up to 10-year vesting periods. That means if you leave that agency or stop writing business through that agency before the vesting period, you do not own your block of business. If an agency does offer or mandate a vesting clause, let's say a 2-year vesting clause, they really need to offer something valuable to sign up with them, because other agencies generally don't have vesting clauses for independent agents. But if they're offering some kind of a free lead program up front, that could be something looking into to kind of negate the vesting clause. Then, of course, you have complete agency ownership, which means you do not own and you never will own your book of business. This typically only happens in situations where you're actually an employee of the agency, and we really only recommend a system like this or a contract like this if you're looking at salary and leads. Other factors that you should be asking is, how many years has the agency been in business? Of course, the longer the better. Our personal recommendation is that you should avoid contracting with agencies that have been in business, I'd say, less than 2 years. You're definitely looking for MGAs that have been in business for longer than 5 years. The number of carriers supported. If you're going to be writing business, obviously, in your own state, and let's say there are 8 carriers in your state. Now, remembering not all carriers go through agencies in the first place. Some will mandate that you contract with them directly. But if you're comparing two agencies, and one agency only supports 2 carriers while another agency supports 5 carriers, you're going to want to lean towards the agency that supports the most carriers in your state. Physical office location, you really want to make sure that they actually have a physical location and that it's going to have staff so you can be properly supported. The ease of communication. If you're having trouble getting in contact with an agency and you haven't even been appointed yet, they're not answering your emails, they're not returning your voicemails to get appointed, you can assume that if it's that difficult to get into contact with them before you join them, it's probably not going to be a fantastic relationship after you get appointed with them as far as getting the support that you're going to require. Lead programs, do they offer any kind of lead programs? If so, you're going to have them explain how their lead programs work. Do they offer any kind of bonuses? That's going to be very important. If you contract directly with each carrier, you have to hit each carrier's bonus program requirements, and that's perfectly fine. Some agencies, for example, will pool your production, which means they may say, well, you're going to get appointed with 5 of our carriers. But if you write X number of gross business, which means it doesn't have to be through each particular carrier, you could qualify for a bonus program, and that's something worth talking about. Releases. Releases in this business are pretty simple. If you choose, for whatever reason, to leave that particular agency, you are going to need a signed release. Some agencies will not release. Some agencies will release. Some have stipulations, which means if you've chosen to take commission advances, they're going to want that debt to be cleared before they release you. So just get the parameters regarding how the releases work. And agency fees. Outside, of course, of your appointment fees. The agencies do not control your state's fees to get appointed through each carrier. But does the agency itself charge a fee to get appointed? If you are going with an independent agency, and of course you're choosing to be an independent agent, we would recommend that you go with an agency, of course, that doesn't have any fees. And if it's discussed, get it in writing. That's going to be our final tip. If they promise you anything, any kind of a unique program, any kind of a lead program, whatever it may be that's discussed with you on the phone, especially if it's something especially enticing for you to join that agency, you really should have that in writing. And that is our presentation on how to choose a health insurance agency, again, brought to you by Agent Navigator, the premier insurance training and resource guide. If you need to contact us with any questions about this presentation, our email is info@agentnavigator.com. Again, that is info@agentnavigator.com.